What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Evan, and you know Mo's up to no good. So as you guys can tell, it's actually really nice out today. It's about 60-ish and it feels about 65. And I know you guys have been waiting for more Jaguar content, more Jeep content, but because of the winter weather, it's actually been a little bit difficult to film outdoors. So now that the weather's nice, we can actually get back to recording. So as you guys can tell behind me, the Jaguar is down. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring the camera in and show you what exactly is going on. So stay tuned. What's going on, you guys? As you guys can tell, we're in the garage, and real quick I just want to show you. Now this is the actual tensioner for the Jaguar. We had an issue where the tensioner actually the belt came off the tensioner, and looks like one of the pulleys disintegrated. I don't know if you've ever seen a pulley disintegrate like this. And we got the balls right here. So here's one of them, here's the other one, here's the other one, and there must be another one, but we got 3-4 bolts here. This is the parts that came off of the pulley, so disintegrated. And I mean, that's the pulley bearing, and this is the pulley itself. It's actually in good condition, nothing wrong with it. So it disintegrated, and I think it disintegrated over time. I just didn't really pay attention to it, and I got really lucky, so nothing really went too wrong with the car, except the belt got chewed off, the pulley actually came off, the pulley bearing disintegrated, and that's pretty much it. We do have a leak by the thermostat, and we also have a leak by the heater core hoses in the back, so we're going to go ahead and address that. So I just wanted to show you that the actual pulley bearing actually disintegrated. Pretty crazy. I've never seen a pulley bearing disintegrate, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put new pulley bearings in and make sure this doesn't happen again. So just wanted to show you real quick, so let's get back to work. All right, real quick, you guys, I know from the water pump pulley video it was a little bit difficult to show you guys, but now that I have the camera a little bit closer and the fans have been removed, the best way to remove these bolts or remove the water pump is by leaving the drive belt or super team belt on and cracking these bolts first loose. Once you do that, you'll be able to get the water pump out. So keep the belt on, crack these boys loose, remove the belt, and then work the pulley off with a pry bar, or gently tapping on it. Sometimes it gets stuck due to the rust that may form on the back of the pulley. So just take your time, the pulley will come off, and then once the pulley comes off, you can take the water pump out. So I know many of you watched the water pump pulley video, couldn't really see what I was doing exactly, so here's a little bit of an explanation. Since I'm going to be changing the water pump thermostat, there's a couple of hoses that are leaking, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the water pump now and show you guys. Alright guys, so as you guys can tell, we removed the belt, removed one of the pulleys here, and we're going to go ahead right now, real quick, so I can explain it so you guys have an idea what's going on. We're going to replace the pulley on this Supercharger belt tensioner. One of the drive accessory pulleys is going to get replaced, as well as the pulley that actually came off. So we're going to go ahead and replace the bearings. You guys have seen it in my other videos. If you haven't, check it out. It gives you a little more detail on how I pull them out, put them back in. But you're going to see here. So let's go ahead and install and remove these bearings and put brand new ones in. going on, you guys? As you guys saw, we just removed the old bearings out of these pulleys. So we had 3 of them. I have 1 more extra to do, but I'm not gonna do that one just yet. That one's a little bit trickier. But for right now, we did the one of the idler pulleys. We replaced the bearing, so it's nicely spinning. So there's no noise in it, so it's spinning freely. No noise in the bearing, obviously brand new. This one is done. So all you have to do is basically get a large enough socket. This is just small, but you get a large enough socket to where it presses up against this metal portion, and you just pry it out or press it out with your vice grip. You can do it with a hammer and just bang it. I did it with the vice grip. It's a lot easier. Just get a large enough socket. You place it over here right in the middle, and you use the vice grip. You turn it a couple of times and it'll just pop the bearing out, and then the install is the other way around. So we did that. Everything on the bolt is clean. We put a little bit of anti-seize. Now this one here, I actually have to get a brand new. There's a plastic, I guess you would call it like a luck nut, and it basically prevents this bolt from backing out. This one obviously is no good because it's obviously been hardened from the heat cycle. So when it gets hot, cold, the plastic just harden up, and it's no good. So I have to get a replacement. I don't want to risk having this pulley pop off. So it's just there for temporarily until I get the replacement. So I gotta order this. So it's basically a plastic hard, hard piece of locking nut. So we would call it a locking nut. It prevents this bolt from backing out. It's just plastic, and it fits in between the bearings. So I don't know what it's actually called. I'm just calling it a luck nut or locking nut, and it goes in between the bearing. It prevents this bolt from backing out. So that's the whole purpose of this. I gotta get a new one. It's obviously broken. Actually broke because it hardened from the heat. So we gotta replace that. The bearing in it is actually good. We did the supercharger one. I think the supercharger is right here, so we did it right here. It spins nicely, and it's free, so no noise. Same thing here. We put a little bit of anti-seize on the bolt, tighten it down, and it's ready to go. We also did the bolt. We cleaned it. I like to make sure things are nice and clean, and that's pretty much it. So you take your time. I'm not gonna replace them or order a new one because they're in basically good condition. The only thing that goes bad is the bearing inside. So that's what we did. So here you go, guys. So let's continue work. All right, real quick, you guys, before I forget, I know many of you might want to do this yourself. So the part number for this 3 bearings, the smaller bearings, are 6203.2RSR.C3.L38. So this is the smaller bearing right here, and the bigger one that I use for the supercharger tensioner is 6303.2RSH/C3. So once again, 6303.2RSH/C3, and that's for the supercharger tensioner. You need 3 of these or 2. It depends on how many pulley bearings you change, but that's the part number. So I figured I'd let you guys know real quick. Alright, you guys, I ended up removing the idler tensioner, or the main drive belt tensioner. So with this one's a little bit tricky. Instead of loosening it with the term called lefty loosey, righty tighty, in order to remove this you got to go the opposite. So righty loosey, lefty tighty. So this one here I used an impact to actually remove it because it's a little bit difficult. So I put a brand new bearing, so it obviously spins. This one here had rust, and if you turn it you can hear the bolts inside making noise, or the bearing bolts making noise. So this is no good. Obviously it looks like it's going to disintegrate, so I don't want this to come out. So this one here, like I said, righty loosey, lefty tighty. You're not going to go lefty loosey, righty tighty. It won't work. It's got opposite threads going in the opposite direction, and that's pretty much it. So just wanted to show you. I was going to do it off camera, but I figured why not do it now. Actually, I broke the bolt on the other tensioner for the green Jaguar. As you guys can tell, I have a green Jaguar as well, which is a part of the family. I actually tried to do lefty loosey and then snapped this bolt in half, and the threads got stuck inside, so I had to get a new one. So learn my lesson. It's obviously the opposite way, because when you put the socket here, you obviously have to go. So if it's this way, the wrench, the socket and the wrench is going to come this way. So there's a reason why they did it going in the opposite direction. So hopefully that helps. Alright, you guys, so real quick, what we're going to do next is actually remove the thermostat housing, because the thermostat is obviously leaking. I can see there's some coolant here, and on the bottom it's leaking. Right now it's not leaking, but it is a slight bit wet. So we're going to remove these 3 nuts here. So one here, and on the bottom. So I believe it's an 8. I don't know if it's an 8 or a 9. I don't think it's a 10. No. This is an 8. So, yep, it's an 8. So we're going to remove these 8 millimeters. So 2 here, right underneath here. You put your hand, you're going to remove it. We're going to remove this, and then possibly remove the water pump. I do have parts for the car. I have a new thermostat. Water pump's on its way. I have the heater core hoses in the box downstairs in the basement. We have them to remove the heater core hose here, and then after that, that should be it. We don't have any leaks, so let's go ahead and remove this. Drain some of the antifreeze in here. I'm going to probably remove this line just so I don't sit on it and snap it, and then we can remove some of the stuff here from the thermostat housing and get a new thermostat put in. Alright, you guys, so the actual antifreeze actually started pouring out of the bottom of the radiator's, I guess you want to call it a little cockpit or drain valve. So I had opened it up, but when I pulled this, I guess air was trapped in the system, pushed some of the rest of the coolant out of the bottom of the radiator. So now the system emptied itself, because when I opened the valve, actually nothing came out, just a little bit. So I believe air was in the system. Once I pulled the thermostat housing back, coolant started shooting out. So I guess the rest of the system drained itself out. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this and put in a new thermostat. I have all the stuff in the basement, so we're gonna go ahead and grab the thermostat, pop it in, close this up, and get to work. Alright you guys, so we just ended up putting the brand new thermostat. Now if you guys want to order the thermostat, the part number is AJ86484. So Apple, my mistake, Apple Jack 86484. So Apple Jack 8648, and it's a Euro, what is it? Euro spare thermostat. So this is the old one, and we're gonna throw it out. We just have the new one installed, or we just installed it. Clean the housing a little bit, anti-seize on the bolts. I always do that because I hate when they get stuck. Makes it harder to come out. It's a brand new thermostat. We got to remove the water pump, and then the heater core hoses we'll probably end up doing tomorrow, so this way you guys can see, because when it gets dark it's kind of hard to see on camera. So we're just going to pull the water pump out, and then the rest of the stuff will continue tomorrow. guys, so I got the pulley out real quick. The back of the pulley seems to have a little bit of rust. When you go to install this, always put a dab of anti-seize over here on the back. Doesn't matter what kind, just put a little bit of anti-seize. This way it comes off a little bit easier. On the next time you have to service the water pump, just put a flathead screwdriver against one of the three, I don't know which bolt it is, but one of the bolts over here. Put a flathead screwdriver and used it as a leverage or as a way to pry the pulley off. So this pulley's off. I'm gonna probably bring the camera in so I can give you guys a better idea. I know many of you who are doing this and are new don't have an idea. I'll bring the camera in so you guys can see. All right, you guys, hopefully you guys can see, but I basically, let me see if I can get my arm down here so you guys can see. I put the flathead screwdriver, I believe, on this bolt, just like this where my finger's resting, and I just pressed up like this with the flathead screwdriver to get it off. Sometimes these pulleys get stuck over here on top of the I guess you want to call it the small bearing. I don't know what this is called, but they get stuck over here, so that's why I put a dab of anti-seize. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these bolts that you see here. Remove it because this water pump looks like it is leaking underneath through the weep hole, so we're going to go ahead and remove it. So I figured I'd show you guys. So that's how you do it. So you got to remove all of these bolts all the way around. Yeah, I think they're 8mm, so crack them loose, take the water pump out, and you're ready to go. All right, you guys, so here's a better look on the other side. So you can tell there is some antifreeze dried up, so we're going to go ahead and remove the water pump and put a Gates water pump. Now, I don't have it yet, but it will be here soon, so we're just going to remove it and leave it open without a water pump, just the way it is. All right, guys, so real quick, just wanted to show you, I had to replace this unit here. Well, not replace it, I had to use one in the garage lane. In the toolbox or one of my boxes. So this bolt right here that you got to remove, this bolt doesn't have to come out. You just pop this back, and then there's a bolt over here on the left hand side. It's kind of difficult to put the camera here. Got the headlight on the top of my head, so you got a bolt right here, one on the other side, and then this just pops back, so you can leave this. And then I just put a brand new a halogen bulb back in. All right, guys, so we're back in the garage. So real quick, this is the lower left or lower right, depends on how you view the car. So it's on this side, so right hand side or left hand side, depending on how you face the vehicle. But anyways, fog light is broken. I believe a rock kicked up and busted the glass. No big deal. I had to use one in one of the toolboxes or one of the boxes in the garage, so from the other Jaguar that I had. So just replaced it, and this is how it looks. So let me flip it around so you guys can get a better idea. Let's flip it this way. So you got one bolt here, the other bolt right here, and then this comes out. So let me show you real quick what I mean by that so you guys can get a better idea. So you normally have this here. What happens is, let's see if we could pick it up and show you. This would go right here, and it would just, let's see if we can pop it in. All right, you guys, so real quick, the headlight's not in the way, but I ended up breaking this. No big deal. Didn't really need it, but it goes right here like this. Hard to do it with one hand. You're supposed to pop in, and then you just gotta slowly pop it out. So this was broken, so let me show you how it looks now that we got it in on the car. All right, guys, so we're back. So I'm back. So I ended up doing the fog light off camera. Just removed these 3 bolts. Pretty simple to do while my camera was charging. It was a little bit low, so I ended up removing these 3 bolts. This one was right here, like this. It was broken, busted. So it depends on how you view it. If you're viewing it from standing from the back of the hood, then it's your left hand side. If you're looking at it from the front, it's the right hand side. So this was broken. I had an extra one laying in one of the toolboxes or one of the boxes, storage boxes in the garage. So ended up replacing it because it's obviously broken, and you don't want to catch water or have water meet electrical. You don't want to have a fire or anything like that. So I had to replace it. So that's pretty much it. It's getting pretty late, so I'll catch you guys early in the morning. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Evan. So as you guys can tell, it's the second day. We just got in the for the water pump, so we're gonna go ahead and change the water pump, and then we're gonna get to changing out the heater core hoses. So let's get to it. Alright, you guys, real quick, so I just want to show you. This is the old water pump. I'm not even sure if this is the original one. Looks a little bit different than the one that I'm usually installing on these Jaguars, which is from Gates, and that's what I have in the box right below the vehicle. So just to note, there are two 10mm bolts over here. So this is, I believe, how the pump sits. Let me just double check. Yep, so two 10mm bolts over here, and on this side you got two 10mm bolts over here, and then the rest are all 8mm. So one will go here, the other one will go here, and then you guys get the point. So two 10mm bolts here and here, and then the rest are 8mm. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean them with the wire wheel, install the new Gates water pump, put the new gasket on, and then we'll continue on to the heater core hoses.
Someone needs clothes, somebody lies to get closer, fooling the night. We don't have time to feel better. It all just slips away. Fragile like glass, feeling like plastic. Do you really feel fantastic? Everything moves all too fast, but in the end we'll be last. I'll let you stay forever. 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 Someone needs clothes, somebody lies to get closer, fooling the night. We don't have time to feel better. It all just slips away. Fragile like glass, feeling like plastic. Do you really feel fantastic? Everything moves all too fast, but in the end we'll be last. I'll let you stay forever. I'll let you stay.
Alright, you guys, real quick, I just want to mention this is the old water pump. Now I accidentally removed these two 10mm bolts. I know before I said you got to remove these two 10mm bolts. I removed these two without knowing that these bolts actually hold the back part of the water pump together. So when I removed it, this back portion was still stuck on the housing of the timing chain cover. So that was there. So when I removed them, these 10mm bolts, the gasket actually came out. So if you remove these two bolts real quick, just to show you, give you an idea. That's why I thought something didn't look right. And from my experience, I said there's no way that this water pump came out like that. So just wanted to clarify so nobody goes, oh, how the hell did you remove the water pump and it looks like that? So real quick, let's just remove it so you guys can get a better idea. So that's what came out. So this is what you guys saw, and this was what was stuck on the back portion. So if you put them together with the gasket and you put those 10mm right here, it keeps the housing together. So all you need to do is remove these 8mm bolts. Now I already installed the water pump onto the Jag, so now we got to install the pulley and get to those heater core hoses.
I'll let you stay forever.
What's going on, you guys? As you guys saw, we ended up putting the new water pump in. We put the pulley for the water pump. We also changed the bearings on 3 pulleys, so now they're going to spin freely and have no squeaky or any noise or any play in them. So the next thing we're going to do is obviously pull the supercharger off. I already pulled the throttle body out, so the next thing we got to do is pull that supercharger out, replace those 2 hoses underneath, and put everything back on. So know the vibes, guys. I'm out.